Faith comes by hearing, hearing comes by the word of the Lord. In other words, faith comes by hearing, hearing comes by what God says. Fear comes through the same vehicle. Somebody has to say it. Come on guys, are you with me? Somebody has to say it before you can believe it. And before you can believe it, you have to accept it. Jesus is sleeping in the middle of a storm where the other disciples are completely in a state of panic. How is this possible? It is only possible if He is the master of the winds and the waves. And He understands this. So they wake Him up. And He doesn't address the waves. He speaks directly to the wind. And He ridicules the wind. He brings it low. He puts it into place. He says, know your place. He says, know your position. Know where you're supposed to be. Who are you? Same type of language that David was using. Who are you, you uncircumcised Philistine? Let me make it more simple to you. Who are you, poverty? Who are you, sickness? Who are you, opposition? Who are you? Who are you? Because if God lives inside of you, you have God most now speaking right. You don't need to just take a beating. You can speak up. Who are you? You uncircumcised Philistine. Prophesying to the future. Today I will cut off your head by your sword. Why does David say your sword? Let me help you. Very simple, because David knew the stone is going to do it, which represents Christ. But the word over his life, which is the representation of the sword, what was the sword representing of? What did Goliath do? Let me just help you quickly. What did Goliath do? Goliath silenced all of the armies of Israel by his words and his words only. He just spoke and everybody got paralyzed. And David said that same method that you use against God's people, I'm going to cut off your head with that same method. I'm going to use the sword that you used against us and we'll cut off your head. Come on, are you guys there? And so the Bible says, and I want you to understand this, the scripture says this, that Jesus says we must go to the other side. And on the other side, as I was looking at the scripture or thinking about wet here, oh hallelujah, I want you to understand this. Jesus wet in the storm. And when I thought about the word wet, the Lord highlighted the scripture into my spirit. And just stay with me, journey with me through the scriptures. There's another place where we see a wet disciple. Because here all 12 of them are wet. But there's another place in your Bible where it speaks about another wet disciple. And it's the place that Jesus walks on the water. And when Jesus walks on the water, the Bible says that the disciples are afraid, they're terrified. They said, who are you? And Jesus says, it is I. And Peter says, Lord, if it's you, let me tell you to come to, that I can come to you. And Jesus says, come, and Peter steps out of the boat. But then your Bible says, my Bible says, as soon as he took his eyes from the Lord and put his eyes on the winds and the waves, he started to sink immediately. In other words, your focus determines the outcome. He focuses on the winds and the waves, and as soon as he does that, he starts to sink and Jesus pulls him up. I want you to note the immediate effect of disbelief has the immediate effect of the presence of the Father. No, you didn't catch what I said. The immediate effect of the failure of the Son has the immediate effect of the interjection of the Father. The Father interjects where the Son fails immediately. He doesn't wait. You don't serve a God that waits. We believe that to be true, we have to redefine what love means. You see your child walking onto the highway, none of you will stand still. All of you will run. Why will you run? Love makes you active. Come on. The gospel is a gospel of love. Of a God that could have kept heaven empty. But He chose to fill it with you, with me. Come on, guys, are you there? What astonishes me is this. Jesus picks up Peter, he walks with Peter back to the boat. Because now the very thing that Peter sank in, Jesus makes him to walk on top on. It's never final when you have the author with you. No, that's too good. You don't understand what I'm saying. It's never the end when the author is present. Because he can add. So the author comes, says, no, we're not done. Let's go back to the boat. In the boat, Peter wet, made a mistake, sank in front of all 11. And most likely, in 2023, people could have said, you know, Peter, you tried your best, but you failed. You gave it your all, yet you didn't succeed. We all saw you sank, Peter, and we're sorry. Come on, most of us, we would have created a theology why Peter sank. Yeah, Peter, next time you try this, remember, don't look at the waves. Remember, don't look at the storms. How quickly are we to point out other people's failure and get a theology why they fail? And yet we see this Jesus that we serve with a lady cast it on his side and say, she sinned, we've just caught her in the dust. We just caught in the very act. And in the same ground that they want to bury her in and kill her in, it's the same ground he writes in. Because the author has the right to rewrite stories.